Hello and welcome to the SPOR London podcast. Real people, real talk, real estate. I'm your host, Vince Simpson, founder of SPOR London, project strategists and managers. Join me as I sit down with industry experts, leaders, consultants, specialists, and perhaps even the odd contrarian. Please note that nothing in our episodes constitutes as advice. It's purely for your entertainment and inspiration only. Now, put the kettle on, make a cup of tea or your favourite overpriced ground coffee, and let's meet today's guests. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SPOR London podcast. Real people, real talk, real estate. Today I am joined by Chris Gore. Chris Gore is co-founder and group strategic director of SPOR Group. He's also the host of the Future Workplace podcast. SPOR Group are a globally recognised AV designer, integrator who specialise in workplace technology, maintenance and of course support. Chris, great to have you here.
Hello, mate.
How are you, mate? You all right?
Thank you. I'm in this seat. It's nice. Nice to be here. Nice to see you.
And anyone that's listened to some of our episodes will have seen a couple of weeks ago I popped on our episode where I was on in your seat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for that.
I'm feeling the pressure.
Oh, I know.
I was nice. I was a nice host, right? So.
Oh, absolutely brilliant, by the way. Absolutely brilliant, yeah. And I loved the little trip out to Maidenhead.
Yeah.
And to see the team as well. That was really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was
really
good. We had a nice day
really
there.
Good. So, Chris, we're going to get stuck into some great things today. Now, I don't want it to be a repeat of our podcast, or I should say your podcast that you've done. But there's a couple of things that I think we'd maybe go a little bit deeper on, perhaps. So what I like to do to get kind of people going and kind of so they know about you is just get an abridged version of you, who you are, career history, which will probably bring us into nicely why we probably get on so well, shall we say. So why don't we start there? How did you come to be where you are now?
Jesus, how long you booked for?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me try and do it quickly. Accent, right? It's a bit softer now, but I was born and raised in Liverpool, Council Estate in Liverpool.
All right,
yeah,
that's as much as I've got.
That's gone.
That
I mean, there's still a twang to it, and people still know. But born and raised in the Council Estate in Liverpool, oldest of four boys. Dad left, alcoholic, all that kind of stuff. He left when I was about 12. Mum was a disabled single parent, looked after four boys on the dole. Usual, you know, we were having jam sandwiches for dinner because we couldn't afford to have food and all this kind of stuff. But at 12 years old, Dad left, and I was the oldest of four boys, and I kind of had to be the man of the house, which is awful when you look back and you think a 12-year-old's got to take on that responsibility now. But that's just the way it was. So I was the man of the house. Didn't really have a father figure, so couldn't kind of say. I played football when I was a kid, and I thought I was going to be a footballer. And I didn't have any father figure to kind of say, look, Chris, you're really not good enough.
Yeah,
so
sure, right.
Maybe concentrate on your exams.
And a mum's love is very different. They will tell you can do anything.
Yeah. And I wasn't good enough. That's the reality. That is the God's honest truth. So, you know, I didn't really have that father figure. So as a result of that, dropped out of GCSEs, dropped out of school, thinking I'm going to be the next Lionel Messi. Didn't work out, obviously. And I was lost. I was stuck. I was in the middle of a council estate. We were on the council estate where cars would get nicked and we'd burn out the cars because kids are bored, right? And that's the way it was. And I clocked myself. Yeah. Luckily, right on time, and I clocked myself starting to go down the wrong route. And I thought, if I don't do something now, this is going to go badly. Yeah. And thankfully, I didn't do anything bad. I didn't get involved in drugs. I didn't get involved in fighting. Thankfully. It could have gone that way. It could have very easily gone that way. And I stopped myself and I thought, if I don't get away from here, and by the way, I love Liverpool. Absolutely love it. It's just I didn't have the father guidance to kind of keep me on the track. Yep. And I had to make a decision myself to say I need to get away from here, because if I don't get away from here, this could go the wrong way. So I went to the careers office and I joined the army. Yeah. And I was 16, 17.
I got goosebumps because I've been there.
I was, you know, it was very, very, you know, and thankfully, and I always say I've still got this saying to this very day. The two best things I ever did were to join the army and to leave. Yeah. And they're the two best, in that order. They're the two best things I ever did. So joined the army, 16 years old, little toe rag, scouse, gobby shite. You know the style.
I'm still mates with.
And it made me. Yeah. You know, it genuinely made me. So served for 4 years in the army. Like I say, loved it. wasn't quite for me. Like I was still, I was a vehicle mechanic, joined the REME vehicle mechanic, getting ready to go for Optelic 4, which is Iraq in 2004, getting ready for that. And I was in a trench, changing a clutch on a Land Rover in a trench, and it was pissing down with rain. This trench was filling up with water. And I'm changing the way you need to change the clutch is you need to get under it or you need to get over it. So I've dug this trench and I'm giving it all that, and the water's filling up the trench, and it's in mud and it's -5 degrees and it's in the middle of Poland, and I'm sat there thinking to myself, this is awful. What am I doing? And I was a fit lad, and I was like, do you know what? Where can I get it a bit more cushy? And the answer was, well, I'm going to go and work in the gym. So I transferred and became a PTI. Transferred into the Air Force then to do PTI, be a PTI in the Air Force, and I served another nearly 10 years in the Air Force. So I did 13 years in total, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah,
join and leave.
Absolutely.
And that's how I got to Civvy Street, basically.
Yeah.
So
well, look, let's build on, and I kind of, we've got very similar backgrounds, as we know, and some of the viewers will maybe know that. But let's okay, what after that? Let's get to kind of where we are with SPOR today, and
yeah. So it wasn't until I was about 20. I was living the young 21-year-old's life, right? Disposable income, living in Germany, traveling around the world, doing that, and that was great.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was about 25 really that I started kind of just maturing a little bit, switching on a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was when I was about 25, I started to figure myself out. I started to realize actually what I'm into is business. Like I'm really into, I mean, I think things like Dragon's Den started there, and I think The Apprentice, all this kind of business, this entrepreneurial type stuff. Yeah. You can only be what you can see, right? And I was born and raised in a council estate. My inspiration growing up was Gary, because ironically, because he had Nike Air Max trainers on, and but I didn't realize Gary's dad was a drug dealer. Yeah. And Gary's the only guy in school with Nike Air Max trainers. Ironically, I now wear Nike Air Max.
Subconscious, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. But he was the inspiration at school, so you can only be what you can see. So I'm about 25 or so, and all these shows and stuff are coming out on TV, and I'm like, do you know what? Actually, that's triggering something for me. I'm into that. Sure. So I bought a few houses. I heard you guys talking about it a minute ago. Bought a couple of houses. Flipped them, rented them out, started a bit of an Amazon business. This is all while I was still serving. Yeah. Started an Amazon business, white labeling products from China, shipping them into Amazon fulfillment centers, and then selling them, and then the fulfillment center were dealing with it. I ended up selling that for about 40 grand, which to me at the time was quite a bit of money. Yeah. And then I was like, right, I know what I want to do now. The military, again, are fantastic. They look after you. So they put me through my MBA then. Yeah. So I did my MBA because I just didn't feel like I qualified to be an entrepreneur, which sounds ridiculous because being an entrepreneur is just step out and see what happens.
And do it.
Yeah. And
but I can kind of get that.
Yeah. And then so they put me through my MBA, and upon completion of the MBA, I'm 30 at this point. Completion of the MBA, I was like, okay, still a fitness instructor. I'm sat there with an MBA, just spent however many thousands of pounds on doing it, and I'm still teaching people how to do press-ups. Yeah. Maybe now is the time for me to step out.
Sure.
And so I left on a whim.
Yeah.
Moved to London on a whim.
Yeah.
Threw my CV everywhere with MBA written at the top, and to this very day, somebody took a punt on me, who kind of saw a bit of a diamond and said, "Look, you're not from the industry, but there's something there." Yeah. And he took a punt on me, and I got a sales job selling AV for the biggest AV company in the world. Yeah. And I didn't have a clue what AV was. And it just, somebody saw a little diamond and said, look.
That's all it takes, though.
Yeah.
But it's attitudes. And I'm going to kind of, and I knew these notes would go out the window.
I
knew they would, yeah. Let's celebrate that fact, actually, the military piece and the background piece. Because you started there by saying, the usual council estate, burnt out cars. It's not usual, Chris. It's usual for us, okay, Dundee, Liverpool, I don't know, maybe similar-ish back in the day, not quite the same. That's where we come from. But it's not usual as we sit here right now in a studio in London with our careers and our networks and all that. Most people can't relate to that. So the fact that we can, that makes us real people, real talk, which is good. But then it's a life experience thing that we bring that to the forces. And again, this is not going to kind of be a forces chat per se, but similar situation. The grounding it gives you, and the life experience and the expertise, it's very hard to find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we should celebrate that. We absolutely should. So yeah, that's.
I'm a huge advocate for 100%. You know, I'm a huge advocate for the resilience it teaches you.
Yeah.
It might not feel like it at the time.
Yeah.
But the resilience, both the upbringing and the forces, teaches you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't teach that. You can't go to somebody from private school. You can't go and do a weekend workshop on resilience. Mm-mm. That, you know, HR ticks off and says, "Oh, we've allocated our budget to resilience training this week." You can't.
No, just doesn't happen.
No, so there's a huge element, and then you've got you then become a bit like yourself. You then become a business owner, and business isn't just this. Everyone sees the Instagram stuff, right? It's not.
God, it's it's definitely not that.
So the resilience that you've built up, this kind of buffer of credit, if you like, in being resilient, you've built up over the course of your career. You're going to use it when you become an entrepreneur. You're going to, because it's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, you've got no choice. You've got to, and it's about showing up. Which kind of let's kind of get stuck into this then. People types, and I say that I guess to build on the military kind of connection we've just said there. But I'm gonna start this conversation by saying sometimes, and especially over the last 18 months of my 21-year career in London, I've started to feel like a bit of a square peg in a round hole. Mm-hmm. Let me explain that. There's probably a little bit of middle-aged man kind of grown in there, right? There's a 21-year review over my career in London and how I've seen our industry change. And it's no disrespect to any demographic, but people have changed. Mm-hmm. So you can't ignore the demographic question mark, perhaps. And our industry, I've got to say, doesn't feel like an industry that learns very quickly. Mm-hmm. Or some parts of the industry, frankly, don't care about the same old mistakes and issues, etc. It's a great industry, and we are going to get to celebrate some of the good stuff. Let me ask you a question. Does that make any sense whatsoever, like being a square peg in a round hole, in our industry, given our background?
Yeah, total sense, because I think the military, for all the good that the military and our background gives us, it also is very clean. And what I mean by that is you do things this way, in this order, and that's how you... And by the way, the military is like, well, I mean, it's a bit smaller now, but when we were in, it's 250,000 people, right?
Yeah.
It's not that size anymore. I know it's not, I think the army was 100,000 people when we joined.
Yeah.
So, so there's all of those people. And so what the military teaches you really, really well is there isn't a thing that you need to be able to do that you have to work out for yourself. Mm-hmm. You've got Joint Service Publication, that's the playbook for every single thing that you want to do in the military. Yep. You go onto JSP and it tells you how to shave, how to tie your shoelaces, how to do, and so.
Viewers might not believe that, but there is actually a textbook step by step for literally every single thing.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. And you do not have to think. You just go onto JSP and you say, how do I raise a complaint on my line manager? And there's a JSP on it. Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but all of my line managers. But you get what I mean, right? Yeah. Now, when you step out into Civvy Street, your round peg and square hole thing, I felt exactly the same in my first 18 months when I left. Because when I left, Civvy Street is like, you can be the master of your own destiny. Yeah. You can do whatever the hell you want. Within reason, you know, there are laws and stuff like that, but you can do whatever the hell you want. There isn't a JSP for success. There isn't a JSP for sales. Mm-hmm. You don't go, well, follow this process and you're going to make sales. Yeah, there isn't. You figure it out. Yeah. So the square peg round hole scenario, it 100% makes sense, because I think, and I'm constantly having to try and reevaluate my own thinking on this, because I'm still very process driven. Yeah. I'm still very like, it goes this way, this way, this way. And if it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, And if somebody sends me from 1 to 4 to 2 to 3 to 5, I still end up in the same destination.
Yeah.
I've just gone a different way to do it.
Yeah.
And that takes some getting used to, certainly when you get out of the military.
It really does. But I'm going to agree with that, but counter it just for the sake of viewers. That does not mean whatsoever what we're actually saying here is military people or of that background are purely linear thinking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because while all those JSPs were there, I've not read a single one of them and never did. But you always knew that there was some kind of structure there. And one of the biggest qualities I find, and there's where I feel, square peg, round hole, is being able to pivot and dynamically think through situations. I actually feel, and I'm going to call it out, that in our industry, there's more people that have not come from our background that are linear. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tick box, tick box, tick box. If anything kind of goes off of a plan or a textbook, I find that there's very few people can think dynamically on their feet, pivot, work around the problem, or in fact avoid the problem in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I might have explained it a bit too black and white, because the part of military life that I didn't explain is that there's not a JSP for being on the battlefield.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
So something happens.
Yeah.
You're not getting a book out and you're going, right, what happens now? That's just not the case.
Exactly.
So I didn't explain that side of things, but yeah, you're 100% right. I think the skills that you learn when you get in are they're really difficult to learn they're really difficult to match the skills that the military actually give you.
Yeah.
But by the same token, you can't. There's no JSP for the battlefield, right?
Definitely not. So I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
And answer as clearly or as diplomatically, or you can say no and we'll edit it out. National service.
Yeah.
What would be your thoughts on that?
Yes, 100%.
Really? Yeah.
100%. Not like in the regular armed forces.
Okay.
I think like its own regiment, and I think only for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
You know yourself, right? You're 16 years old. You're 17 years old. You're 18, 19. So I've got two answers to this. One of them is, I'm a 19-year-old, and I'm a 19-year-old kid, and the government turn around to me and say to me, if you've got ADHD, I'll give you $2,000 a month because you've got ADHD or you've got ADD, right? I'll give you $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
I'm 19 years old. I'm taking it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm taking it 100%. And then as soon as you're taking that, the problem you've then got is you're on this slippery, slidey slope then, because you can't become what you can't see.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is when I lived in London, I lived in Croydon. Again, not the nicest area in the world, but great people there. And we used to go fish and chip shop every Friday. Martin, the old fish and chip guy, ex-army, great lad. Every Friday go down there. Martin, same as you. Anyway, this kid comes in, probably 19. Martin goes, "Where have you been?" He said, "Oh, I've been locked up, haven't I?" Martin goes, "Oh, what you been doing here? This and that, this and that." I'm sat in the corner waiting for my fish and chips, right?
Yeah.
Martin goes, "Join the army, mate. Get yourself away from here. Join the army." He goes, "Chris, what do you reckon?" And I went, "Kid, I don't know you. Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Join the army."
Sure.
So national service, yes. Probably, I mean, I could never be a politician because I could never argue it in front of you. But the benefits for me by certainly outweigh what the cons are.
Definitely. Well, I guess I've got to answer my own question now, haven't I? Seeing as I put you on the spot. Agree. So here's my bit that, again, not to give the history of me, but I would have gone down a very wrong path if I hadn't joined. Actually, before the army, it was the cadets. So for me, my corrective path, if you like, started at 12 years old. So that, I think, is really important for any kid that age. Cub Scouts, cadets, whatever, just something. But then forces, absolutely. I've got to say, in retrospect and the state of the world now, it would be a real dilemma because there's great qualities, life experience, skills that people would get out of it. Do I agree with what the Western world is doing from a war perspective? I know the conflict and politics, no. So that's a bit of a dilemma. So if it was going to be some kind of national service, the war question mark and the fighting question mark would be where I'd struggle. but doing something on the home front of some similar ilk that then can contribute to the local community and society all day long.
I get it.
All day long.
I get it. And like you say, it's only with maturity that you can think a bit more holistically about it, right? I didn't think about Iraq.
No.
Just, it is where it is.
You do, you're told. Yeah.
But I mean, now you look back and go, probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
So it's only with maturity you can look a bit more holistically at this sort of stuff.
100%. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I'm glad we got on that, but it's important to set that background, because as we have this conversation about where our industry is, the backgrounds, this is our perspective, this is our lens. So maybe let's get into that. Now, when I talk about real estate technology, I come at it from a project strategist perspective. Took my project management hat on over the course of last year, very much firmly putting on my project strategist hat. And what does that really mean from a CRE, commercial real estate technology perspective? Well, for me, and we're going to get into AV, of course, but as a project strategist, my job is to try and connect the client's business needs to the real estate needs and advisory, to then programming projects. So that's where I kind of sit as a project strategist, which is very different to program management and project management in actual fact. And when I look at how I advise clients on their blind spots, my job is to kind of pull out the brief from them, challenge them on it, identify the blind spots, and then give them that strategic direction. And part of that is the real estate technology. And when I say real estate technology, it's everything from intelligent buildings, smart buildings, it's IT, AV, it's even AI these days, it's how data harnessing and data usage, all that kind of stuff. Anything that's a technology piece is tech. And over the course of last year, joining that dot to ESG is just a given. Because if you're going to take ESG seriously, you need technology. And if you got tech, get some ESG value out of it, right? All that forms a strategy. Anyway, so that's the context of where I kind of come from. But let's celebrate some general technology kind of good practice. Now, I think it's come on leaps and bounds since I started 21 years ago, where AV was literally a screen on the wall. All right, those days are definitely gone. So I think we're making good ground on that. But even as recent as yesterday, I was catching up with someone on the consultancy side. We can always have these chats, but it's very, very rarely taken seriously from a client perspective of joining these dots. Okay, so there's me. I've set a huge scene there.
Yeah.
But where you are at a global level with what you do, and we're going to get into what you do, because I do believe it's genuinely different. What are you seeing? What's good out there?
We are 21 years ago. People see AV as a screen on the wall. That fight still happens, believe it or not. There are still firms that kind of go, well, project is 3 weeks from completion. There's a bunch of AV. Can you go and make something work? And so that fight does happen.
Yeah, I heard that literally yesterday, and I hear it very often.
Yeah, but what we are saying, like, everyone was talking about this kind of digital transformation for years and years and years, and then COVID came along and slapped you in the face like a big, wet fish, right? And all of a sudden, everybody went through this digital transformation period. So whilst AV in the past, you would have to explain it as audio visual.
Yeah.
Now, more and more, you can say the letters AV and people know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
Not that COVID is a bonus, but from an industry perspective, the recognition of importance of AV is getting there. And we will talk about the strategy piece in a moment, but overnight, everyone worked from home. Overnight, you're having Sunday Zoom quizzes with your family, and it was driving everyone crazy. Overnight, Granny Mary could start a Zoom call by the press of a button, and could have a video conference meeting with you to talk about the latest quiz on a Sunday.
Yeah. And
then COVID stopped. Yeah. Everyone get back to the office, and you're used to being able to press a button to start a meeting, and then you spend 2 hours on a train, 2 hours on the tube with your face in someone's armpit, and you get to the office and the meeting room tech, you can't just press the button. The meeting room tech doesn't work.
Yeah.
Huge friction between leaders saying, I want you back in the office, and users saying, at home, I can just press a button and start a meeting room.
Yeah.
So what are we seeing? Well, we're seeing a recognition of the fact that, yes, there's still work to do, highlighted by your conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
But people now go, actually, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why would I? Here's the other question you'd ask yourself. Why would a leader go through all of their strategy conversation that they do with you?
Yeah.
I'm not a strategist. You're exceptional at that. I'm not. Why would you go through all of the work around this strategy and collecting data points and putting a location putting your office in a location where people can easily commute in, and you've got all of this strategy conversations you've had? Why would you do all of that? Sign a 10-year lease, tell people to come in the office 4 times a week, or a 3 and 2 split. If the end result of being in the office is the fact that they can't start the meeting,
it's
why?
Completely counterproductive.
Yeah,
yeah, that is. Yeah.
So we're seeing that. We're seeing there's still work to do, but actually, the point of the office is that, again, your strategy thing is great, but the point of the office is actually why.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is
fundamentally why. Yeah, and I know that we think similar in this respect. I'm a firm believer, and this is the military thing again, and this is why I said it's important to set that context. I'm a firm believer, as I think you are, bring the problem to you, right? What do I mean by that is, what's the problem or the product or the output or the challenge that business is trying to fix? Because, and here's where we forget as consultants, if I'm being honest, we forget the obligation is on us to try and extract that brief and think about what the client's trying to achieve. Every single client, even a landlord or developer, but when we talk about occupiers, they've actually got a business. Their day job is not running fit-out projects. Their day job is insurance, legal, etc., etc. We forget that as consultants. What's the client trying to achieve, and how does it fit into their business plan, their vision, their 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10, 15-year plan, whatever it may be?
Yeah.
What's their actual place in their market? Now let's start there. Now let's get into strategy, which leads into real estate, which leads into projects.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen as often as it sounds like very common sense. It doesn't happen as often as it should.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I've been really kind of trying to fine tune my message over the last couple of months, and I'm still not done yet, in actual fact. But here's how I kind of summarised it last night. In fact, clients don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mature clients out there, but if we say typically, and they've got blind spots. Now imagine if clients did know what they didn't know, and they were educated, and all those blind spots were removed. Doing that at a strategic level, that filters all the way down, ripples all the way through the real estate programs, projects, right down to the end product. And the end product is, in this case, AV, which feeds back into the loop of, right, we've met our objectives within our business plan.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying this very hairy-fairy as a strategist, right? I get it. It does come down to nuts and bolts, and the guy with a screwdriver who's commissioning whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's not lost on me. But that's the full circle.
And that's why we started SPOR. Anyone can start an AV business. Right. It's a display on a wall. At the really rudimental, basic level, it's a display on a wall. But actually, we've created this funnel basically, where at the top of the funnel you've got strategy, right? Yep. Which is you guys. I'm no strategist. I won't pretend to be. That's you guys. So at the top of the funnel you've got, right, we've got an office move coming up. We've got a lease expiry date. We've got a requirement for a new building. We need to bring some strategy level conversations in to try and understand what our people want and why they want it, and what the output of what they want is. Yeah. So that's the strategy people. Yeah. What sits under that then, once you've got the strategy sorted, and then you've got, your 3 days in the office or 2 days at home, or you've got 4 days at home, or fully remote, whatever the strategy is that you choose to go down, what sits under that then is, okay, well, what technology do we need in order to deliver the strategy? Yeah. Once we decided a technology that matches the strategy, which is the kind of the technology is the second part of the funnel. The lower part of the funnel is, okay, well, how do we now design and deploy that technology for that strategy? And so I'm going to throw a polarizing comment out here. The strategy doesn't work. Whatever one you choose, whether it's 3 days at home, 2 days in the office, whether it's all day, whether it's fully remote working, whatever strategy you choose to make, it will fail if you do not get the technology right.
Yeah.
Because you have Sally on the tube with her head in someone's armpit, going in there and saying, I can't start my meeting. Yeah. You've failed.
Yeah.
So that's what I refer to that as our kind of funnel. Strategy at the top. We don't do that. You guys do it.
Yeah.
Technology to match the strategy.
Yeah.
How do you deliver it? And the way that we deliver it is through, I know you're going to come on to it, but the way that we deliver it is through a very specific model, which we call the DITAM model.
Yeah.
And going back to how we first started this conversation, anyone can start an AV company.
Yeah.
But following a specific model which matches the technology requirements further in the funnel, higher up in the funnel, which matches the strategy. Not anyone can do that.
Yeah.
So we follow the DITAM model, and the DITAM model is a very specific procedure to deploy technology to make the strategy happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. Hello, me again. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to give a few seconds to our sponsors. Yes, it's us, SPOR London. At SPOR London, we are not just project managers, we are project strategists. And yes, there is a huge difference. Clients come to us to avoid the same old project mistakes, cost overruns and delays by thinking strategically about their project. To find out more, visit us at spark.london or find us on LinkedIn. All links are in the show notes. Now back to the conversation. Well, let's get into it. Okay?
Yeah.
because we've touched on it, but before we do, and I'm going to actually ask if I'm understand it correctly, but I think I am. But the reason that we get on and we're here is because I believe you're standing out in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over my 21 years, I've worked with many AV integrators. And you're 100% right. Anyone could start an AV company, and many have.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't necessarily mean they're anybody good at it, to be brutally honest. And here's the, another, I guess it's a lesson to learn, I guess, industry-wide. Looking up, right? Again, military kind of mindset. There's always a goal and a mission to be achieved, but you've got to not just look straight at that. You've got to look left, right, up, down. You've got to look behind you, right? And I try and verbalize this sometimes by thinking, right, look up. What's integrator, furniture, pot plants, whoever it may be, right? When it's real end product kind of stage, look up. Why is it important? How is it getting used? And we've all been there before where we've seen the decorator fixing one snag and he's made 10 marks on the wall, right? Doesn't really care. Or the AV guys from other firms, obviously, and I'm talking from experience years ago, they would put it on, turn it off and walk out. They've not
and then cross the road when they see the client walking past them.
Exactly, yeah, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like half a job, right?
Yeah.
The industry's got better, but that still exists. It's the kind of looking up bit, and that's where I think you are standing out, because even the fact that you've got a funnel and a model that starts at strategy and you acknowledge it's not you.
Yeah.
I can't name another AV integrator that's thinking that way.
Yeah.
So, what's that for the bigger picture? Now, I'm in a position where I work with any and many disciplines. So the architects, the engineers, MEP, sometimes tech consultants as well. And that's horses for courses, depends on the client, the project, complexity, all that. Sometimes there's a place for them, sometimes there's not, or they're not necessarily needed. You've got the D&B versus trad.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah.
So I guess my question, which I think will maybe lead us into your DITAM model, is how do you deal with all of those different players? What works? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah.
And importantly, where do you bring your DITAM model into that then?
So if we go back to our funnel, so the strategy piece is all covered by great minds like yourself. The next piece down is then the technology piece. The technology piece then houses all of your AV consultants, your IT consultants and those guys. They are fantastic at what they do. Yeah. But those guys are speaking to you on the strategy and the big piece. Yeah. And they're designing an AV solution based on the conversations that you're having. Yeah. We're not involved at this point. Yeah. Right? Now, it depends on the size of the job. We're not involved at this point. For the big projects, we're not involved. And to be honest with you, we're probably not best suited to sit at that middle part of the funnel, which is the technology, strategy piece for the big stuff.
Yeah.
Because the AV consultant, that's their job.
Yes.
And they're good at it.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. For the smaller stuff, yes, we can sit at that level and we can design and we can obviously work with the client and make sure that the design's right.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the consultants probably don't want the smaller stuff anyway, because they're busy working on the big strategy stuff for the big stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a space there for us to be able to cover that gap, or project size dependent for the consultants.
Yeah.
And the
horses for courses.
Horses for courses.
Yeah.
And they're bloody good at it. So that's where they sit.
Yeah.
And then what then happens is you then go, right, well, here's the strategy. Here's the technology design that we're going to deploy as a part of that strategy. We now need to go and work with a company that kind of get it.
Yeah.
And then that's where it comes down to the deployment of the technology as part of that strategy. That's where our DITAM model then comes in.
Yeah.
Now, what we try to do is, going back to our comment a minute ago, which is anyone can start an AV company. They can, right? And you know what? There is room for Gary in a van to go and buy a few screens. If he's got a client that maybe just has one office, on a screen on a wall, and there's no ongoing service requirement. There's no, it's one screen on a wall. There's space for Gary in a van to go and do that. Yeah. There's also space for the very, very big guys, which we're not one of the bigger. There's like 5 big players in our space, and those guys do the north of £2 million projects and the big stuff and the the large, full building office block moves. Yeah. That's what they do. Yeah. We're the next level. We're the mid tier where we're like. Own and manage for start. I own the company. I manage it. So we've got our ear to the ground when it comes to that. So we're the medium-sized company where we're not Gary in a van who'll hang it on a wall and then disappear, and then panic when the display breaks. But we're not doing £4 million Tottenham Hotspur football stadiums. Yeah. So we kind of fit that mid spot really quite nicely. The DITAM model is the thing that differentiates us slightly. So DITAM stands for design. Again, I mentioned a minute ago, we sometimes sit in that second tier, the technology piece, depending on the project size. Yeah. So we design. Yep. Integrate, the screwdriver guys. They're the guys, we provide all of the equipment. We integrate all of the equipment. That's the I of DITAM. Yeah. T is then training. This is where we differentiate ourselves from Gary in a van. Yeah. So at project completion, witness testing, et cetera, we train the users. Yeah. And we do that through a platform that we use, whereby you can walk in with your phone. Your phone recognizes that you're in boardroom number 2. Yeah. It pops up on your phone, and then you can then click, I want to start a meeting, I want to share a screen, whatever, and you can it's a digital laminated guide. Yeah. Laminated guides, 54 pages. You got to turn to page 22. Yeah. No. We'll give you a platform. Yep. You jump on there, and you take, you ask what you want it to do, and it tells you what to do. Yeah. So that's the T. Yeah. The A is then asset management. We deploy all of these meeting rooms right away across Europe. We've got projects in Asia. We've got projects in Sydney is the furthest one away we've done. We deploy all of this stuff. Just deploying it and not tracking the assets and the warranties is not good enough. That makes you Gary in a van. Yes. If you you need to be a strategic level conversation with your client, and you need to be able to say, that Sydney office, the warranties are due to expire in the next 12 months. We need to start talking about budgets now. We either need to start having conversations with the manufacturers to extend the warranty, or we need to start collecting some data around the usage of those spaces and have a strategic level conversation around what you're doing. But you only get that by tracking the assets. Yes. That's the A. And then the M is monitoring and management. So proactive monitoring and management. Yeah. If a camera, here's the scenario, right? You'll know this. You walk into a meeting room, CEO's got a meeting. Yeah. You walk in 2 minutes before the meeting starts, right? This happens. This is real life. It happens everywhere. Yeah. You walk into a meeting 2 minutes before CEO. You've been up all weekend, panicking about the slides. 2 minutes before the meeting, you walk in. Your CEO's there. Camera's not working. Yeah. Everyone runs around, heads on fire. CEO's kicking off. Clients sat in the Zoom room waiting, and the camera's not working. Yeah. You only know the camera's not working reactively. Yeah. You only know because you're trying to use it. Yes. So our M in our model is proactive maintenance and monitoring. Yeah. We put everything onto our SPOR platform. I know you said you were going to mention that in a minute. We've got a platform called SPOR. We put everything onto our SPOR platform, and we monitor the whole estate right the way across the globe. Yeah. Essentially what happens is, if the camera goes offline on Friday, you might not have a meeting, right?
Yeah.
If the camera goes offline on Friday at 4:00, our help desk gets a ping saying, Paris, boardroom number 2, this client, camera's offline.
Yeah.
What we do remotely in our office in Maidenhead, our service guys reboot the camera remotely.
Yeah.
You haven't even got a meeting.
Yeah.
We reboot the camera in remotely, see if that works. If that then pings back saying still not online, this is the rudimental bit. We then FaceTime the client and go, do me a favor, pop into boardroom number 2.
Yeah.
The camera's offline. Show me what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And we're doing this from our office.
Yeah.
Show me what you're seeing. All right, okay, plug that back in for me, blah, 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 blah. If that doesn't work, we send the engineer.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that's all before the 2-minute before meeting when you finally realise the camera's not working. Because that camera might have been off since Wednesday the week before.
But no one spots it until they go to use it.
But no one spots it until you go in to actually use it. So we onboard everything onto our SPOR Track platform.
Yeah.
And we go,
yeah,
your camera's offline. We proactively fix it.
Yeah. So that's exactly what. And that went live on
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
Which stood out to me when I seen it kind of get publicised, so to speak. I mean, that's brilliant, and I genuinely believe that's a differentiator. I can't think of anyone else that's even close to that. And I've obviously I'm party to many AV discussions over projects, and it's all very reactive, I've got to say, as a general feel.
And we were, Vince, right? So I mean, the truth is, we're 7 years old. I'm a guy that left the military, started a business.
Yeah.
The way that I've done business is I've always sat down just like this, right? And I've had a conversation with my clients and I've gone, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I've been totally honest, totally transparent. I've told them when we fucked up. I've told them when the changes we've made, when we have messed up.
Yeah.
And it's a lesson, right? And it's painful and no one likes the conversations, but I've done it. And SPOR Track only exists because one particular client of mine, we look after 15 sites right the way across Europe. And they took us on early. We were maybe 2 years, maybe 18 months, 2 years old at that point.
Yep.
They took us on early. We brought them onto a reactive service contract.
Yep.
We then accelerated our relationship over the course of the following 5 years, 5-6 years. And all of a sudden we've got 15 sites across Europe.
Yeah.
And the client sits down with me one day and goes, Chris, you look after 15 of our sites. You're still doing it on spreadsheets.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I went, right, okay.
Yeah.
Give me 6 months.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
And that's why this now exists, because we listen to the clients and go, what do you want? I'll build it for you.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
So let's join a few dots there again. I think that's absolutely brilliant that you're self-aware enough as a business. I mean, to go and listen, adapt, implement, and create that, frankly. Here's where I'm going to join a few dots, which brings us back to earlier conversation. The fact that you've got your DITAM model, and the last two, the asset manage and the active monitoring, that's business. That again goes back to the start of what I said about the end product needs to have an ROI or some kind of business function. The CEO who's about to go into that boardroom to cut a new acquisition deal, right? And it doesn't work. And he's got his new, potential future business partners or companies buying, whatever it may be, at the other end in a waiting room. It's not a good start, is it?
Yeah.
So the proactive, let's call it issue avoidance in actual fact, is so fundamental and obvious, but it does come down to AV in that instance.
Like going back to my polarizing thing a minute ago.
Yeah.
Whatever strategy you choose, doesn't matter which one you choose, it will fail if you don't get the tech right.
Yeah.
That's That's my polarizing comment. It will fail if you do not get the tech right.
No, I agree. And if you take that up a level, that product or that situation, that avoids the feedback loop back through my level of strategy by getting it right in the first place. Strategizing how we do that and the right people, right team, right procurement, all of that kind of stuff. That's where I come in at that strategic level to think about that. I couldn't come up with a solution to do it, but that's where I've got to think about it. So that instance could have been in the making for 2-3 years to solve that one problem or avoid that one problem. And I think that's the way that people need to think about the workplace. It's all very reactive. So we celebrated good stuff there. Let's now maybe go on to a little bit of a whinge, if I'm honest, about what needs to improve. And I'm going to start that conversation by our industry feels very reactive.
Yeah.
And not enough strategic thought. but my viewers are sick of hearing me bang on about that.
Yeah.
So what do you think from where you are?
It is a difficult one, isn't it? Because as a business owner, I get it.
Yeah.
People have got margins to make, and people might push the wrong thing because they get 30% margin on it instead of 10% margin, and it's not necessarily the right thing for the client. We're brand agnostic, by the way, so we will put the right brand in front of the right circumstance. But I get it. You know, everyone's trying to make a buck, right?
Yeah.
And especially in the kind of the fit out world and the design and build world, margins are tight.
Yeah.
And so I do get it. And then you've got the client side of things and the strategist side of things who are tendering out for 3 different projects because they want the best in class, but they want it at the right price. So the whole chain is margin, which then creates this whole reactive thing. And sometimes if I go even further earlier in the process, where I talk about, let's say you're an office manager, you get stitched up, right? Office lease is due up in 2 years. Vince, go and find us an office and make it happen.
Yeah.
Going to your question, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
That office manager doesn't know what they don't know, right?
Correct.
So what do? They go to an agent.
Yeah.
And then the agent, all of a sudden, they're down this path because the agent introduces them to the next person in the chain, and the next person in the chain, and the next person, and all of a sudden, before you know it, they've moved in and they haven't got a bloody clue how they got there. Do you know what I mean?
They've probably paid a massive premium for it as well.
And they've paid the price all the way through that chain.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So my business head is like, I get it, because everyone's trying to make a buck and everyone's trying to add margin, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. My kind of empathetic side of me is like, what's the right thing for the client? Yeah. Sometimes the right thing for the client isn't the right thing for business.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted. I'm probably not as straight with you than you are on it.
Yeah.
Because I get it. I don't like it always, but I get it. And I've been on the wrong side of it before, where our price has probably been too high, and then people have gone, well, I need to make a buck, so I'm going to go with those guys. So I've been on the wrong side of it, and I don't like it. Yeah. But I get it. I understand it.
It's real life.
Yeah.
So that's a really good way of looking at it. And again, I can relate to that. And I'm also conflicted about it. But I am a guy that genuinely 100% cares about the client and their outputs and the project goal. But we are in this, and this is what I meant about square peg round hole. Because if I was to put my PM hat on again and again, it's not an insult to anyone, but they kind of look down at getting the job done. And there's a lot of things that happen in our industry which are frankly brushed aside, not spoke about. There's games at every level. And it adds big time and cost premium to what clients actually get at the end of it. The majority of clients, there's some very astute clients out there that have been burnt a few times or got the right advice and they've learnt from it, right? So that's just the reality of life. Yes, I get it and I agree. But man, it annoys me.
Oh, it pisses me off. Like I said to you just then, I don't like it, especially when I'm on the wrong side of it. I don't like it at all, and I'm like, I can see the game that's gone on there, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, it's one of those. It's just like, you know, if Samsung come to me today and go, well, that job there, I'm going to give it to you for 20 grand less than LG's price. You know, you sit there and you go, okay, well, we'll do that then. Absolutely. We pass the savings on to the client, to be fair. But that's the, I kind of get it at the whole thing. You know, I've been on the wrong side of it and I haven't liked it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and I could get back on my soapbox, but I'm not. I'm not because I'm not.
You've done it.
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, and interesting again. This is the whole kind of experience. So I was 10 years contractor side, right? And I absolutely loved it there, and I got so much kind of experience out of that. So I've seen it from every which way.
Yeah,
I have, but not everyone has, and not everyone knows what they don't know. And that's actually, do you know what? It's not even just clients.
Yeah.
Agents have got their way.
Yeah.
D&B contractors have got their way. PMs have got their way as well.
All the way through the chain.
It's all the way through the chain.
Have got their, you know. And also, I get it from like a consultant. I get it. You know, a consultant's going to sit there and go, well, I've worked with those guys for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. You know, if I'm a consultant, I'm sat on that side of the table and I go, well, I know you've done it for 20 years. You've always looked after me. These guys are new kids on the block. Chris is talking a great game on podcasts and about the funnel and all this kind of stuff. but we've never actually worked with them.
Yes.
So if I put myself in the consultant's shoes and they choose the 20-year of real life experience, I get it.
Yeah.
I'd probably be doing the same.
Yeah.
You know,
and I get that as well. But, and this is where I really mean this, and this is forever in the ether to come back and haunt me. I get that, but for me, it's never been about brand. Sometimes, more often than not, when that crops up, it's, oh yeah, that X company, they turned over the X million and they've done a fit out for that company or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But that's a company and a brand. What about the individual?
Yeah, you're right.
So where it does matter to me is, I'm going to pick a guy called Dave, right? Or David. It's a real person. Works for a fit-out company. Runs a fit-out firm. Now, it's got nothing to do with his brand and fit-out firm. He is the safest pair of hands for a certain type of job. And he's a guy I would pick up the phone to if it was the right fit. Nothing to do with the company brand. So the people aspect, I absolutely get. As long as it's open, transparent, all that kind of normal stuff.
Yeah.
But it's where some people just follow a brand.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because it's a brand, so they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen so many of those projects go wrong.
Yeah.
Where that actually goes against you. But anyway, I said,
I think you're right. You know, at the end of the day, David's going to pick up the phone to you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And that's worth it. It doesn't matter what the number is. That's worth it.
Exactly. Right. Not to continue the whinge, but look, this is something that this is a platform to talk about improvement as well, right?
Yeah.
And there's loads of great stuff out there, and we've covered some of that. But on your podcast, you get end users on to a reflect on the good practice, but also from a user perspective, kind of also try and educate. So if we were to kind of educate listeners right now, what's the top 3 things you think the industry could and should do better? What's some quick wins to kind of go, right, we're at an 8 right now, let's get to a 9 or a 10?
CRE and corporate real estate?
Yeah.
As a whole?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump on my soapbox a little bit and say, I'm not know if there's an agenda, right? But you have to bring AV in early.
Yeah.
AV's typically brought in, if you've got a consultant involved, it might be brought in stage 3, REBA stage 3.
Yeah.
If the AV consultant's not involved, you're lucky if you get in at stage 4.
Yeah.
You're unlucky if you're in when the fit-out company says you've got 3 weeks till PC. Get yourself in there and fix it.
Yeah.
And it happens more times than you care to imagine. So the biggest lesson I would give anybody is bring AV into the conversation as early as you possibly can.
Yep.
Going back to our funnel, right? Strategy, technology, deployment. The earlier you can bring the AV conversation up that funnel, even in strategy stage, the better. Yep. Because strategy fails. Going back to my thing, strategy. This is my tagline. Yeah. Strategy fails if technology is not right.
Yeah.
So the biggest learning I'd say is bring it in earlier than you think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Yeah. Furniture, what light doesn't matter. If you're walking in and Sally can't start that meeting because the technology is not right, you failed. Yeah. So that's my soapbox.
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, totally get it, and 100% agree. And I think it's only becoming more and more important because we're becoming more and more reliant on technology.
Yeah. And there's friction, Vince, right? There's friction. You know, the leaders I'm a business owner myself. I'm battling with this with employees where I'm going, I want people present, but I kind of understand when. So the friction is like, why would I travel for 2 hours? Why would I spend 35 quid a day on commuting? Yeah. Why would I do all of that if then when I walk in and like on a the twats, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I go in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All the meeting rooms are booked.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the problem there? There's a strategic problem.
That's strategy.
Do you know what I mean? So I get it. You know, I'd be saying the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Okay. Well, look, we've covered the bits I was really keen to hear about, and we've covered a lot in actual fact. So I think it's probably time to wrap up, and we'll have a little bit of fun on the way out, if that's okay.
Fine.
Now, you don't know what to expect. I forgot my notes, so I'm going to refer to my phone. Beside you, there is the Spark Bag of Destiny.
Oh, Christ.
Grab that and pick a number, please.
What's this? It's like, what's the old I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I'm going to put my hands in a spider in there or something like that.
Well, that's season 3 stuff. That's a good idea for
right,
season
so I'm picking
3.
a number, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
What have you got?
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay, I don't remember having... we have had 7 before, but that's cool. Right, so number 7 is big fat recommendation for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You could recommend a book, a podcast, not Spark London and not the future. Well, actually, yeah, the Future's Workplace, but we've done that.
Yeah.
But it could be an app, it could be a playlist, it could be a TED Talk, a habit, it could be absolutely anything, work or play. What would you recommend to the viewers?
I think I'm an avid reader, as you know. It's rare that I'm spending an evening without a book in my hands.
Yeah.
I think the biggest book that made the biggest impact on me is Radical Candor.
Okay.
Have you ever come across it?
No, can't say I have.
It's essentially a way of communicating which is radically... you essentially, it's a way of communicating with your employees, with your community, with your, with the rest of your teammates, which is you care personally. So you care about the person, you understand them as an individual, you understand them personally. But the radical bit is you have direct conversations when you need to.
Right. Okay.
But the key to the Radical Candor conversation is we can have this really direct conversation, and it might not be great for us, and it might not be great, but the purpose of the conversation is to achieve this desired result.
Right.
But as soon as we've had that conversation, we go back to care personally again. So we have a beer, and if everybody buys into the Radical Candor culture, then this becomes a whole loop of everybody having a Radical Candor culture amongst each other.
Right.
Peer to peer, peer to boss, the whole thing, every way around. Somebody can come to me and go, Chris, that decision that you made, my peer, my employees, if you get this right, can come to you and go, that the decision that you made, I don't agree with. Here's what it's making people feel like. Here's the problem with it. Okay. And I have to have a Radical Candor culture myself to be able to accept that. Yeah. Reflect on it, and not be the, dictator in the situation. So I think the book Radical Candor is a brilliant.
I've never heard of that. I've jotted it down, but the concept of that is really quite interesting, and I kind of feel like we should have one of those in every meeting, every project meeting, that we should have an extract.
It is a brilliant book. Okay. And I read the book and then I listened to the audio. Brilliant. Because I was like, this is fantastic. And I don't get it right. I don't think anyone gets everything right all the time. No, but like I said to you, I'm still battling myself with people trying to work in the office, trying to work from home. Brilliant. But it at least gives me just I need to have, because leaders, they let it go. They let it, so you have that conversation, but everyone understands that conversation is within the realms of becoming better as a whole. Yeah, the bigger picture. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So read that.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, that's been brilliant. Great chat. Great recommendation. Thank you very much. And thank you again for listening in to another fantastic episode. And I've got no doubt you will agree that was real people and real talk. All Chris's and SPOR's links will be in the show notes. Do check out his podcast of the Future Workplace podcast. And until next time, thank you very much.